Okay, welcome to the first in a tutorial, the So Easy Your Grandma Can Do It series for the CG brothers. That basically we take 3D Studio Max and Autodesk Maya and we basically bring scenes made in one and bring in the other for rendering or whatever, and vice versa. So we're going to start very simple, and then we're going to bring up later tutorials and have a lot more complicated things for animation and other effects, things like that. So let's start with a simple one. So we'll do a primitive sphere and a ground plane and do a dynamic simulation and bring that into 3D Studio Max. So now we're in Maya, so let's create a primitive sphere, and we'll create a primitive cube, which would be our ground plane. And let's turn on shading so we can see. Okay, that's about right. And let's see, let's make this black color. Make it a blend. Alright, and we're just going to drop this ball on the surface for a real quick dynamic simulation rigid body. Physx is integrated into Maya and Max, so we'll use that. So select the sphere, primitive sphere, and go to the tab of Physx, and you go rigid body, create dynamic rigid body. It creates a sphere that's collision mesh around it. We'll do the same thing for the ground, but we want to make that a static rigid body, so it doesn't actually move, but it interacts with the sphere. Okay, let's increase our timeline to 115, and let's check the initial conditions for this in the channel box and see if we've got some. Let's adjust the mass to be 0.1 and bouncing is 0.1, so that'll be more like a bowling ball. And let's try initial spin to be 10. See, that may or may not be enough, but let's try it. And push play. And there you go. So it sits there and just drops. And let's see if we can increase that a little bit, maybe to 50 for initial spin. Not much. I don't think it's going to matter too much unless I really boost that number up because of the collision mesh. So let's redo the collision mesh to make it less dense, or actually more dense. So let's delete that. We'll add another one around self, and it'll make a better one. There we go. So it rolls better and it'll drop better. There we go. Okay, we could actually increase the velocity of it, so it'll actually move as well. So we got the spin. Let's get an initial velocity of, let's say, 5. And it moves a little bit more. So let's try 20. There we go. Kind of goes to the ground plane, but it doesn't matter for this exercise. Okay, so that kind of bounces like a bowling ball would. Alright, so what we want to do now is we want to bake this scene to we want to actually bake it to keys. So let's go to rigid body, and we'll bake all, and it'll create keys on the very end here, all the way down the timeline. So now you can scrub and watch it. So here it comes, and there it goes. Okay. So now what we want to do is export this scene to to Max. And so what we want to do is File, Export, All, and I've got FBX Export. Let's export all. And we're going to go ahead and from Maya we're going to call this ball. And what I want you to note also is that this is going to be in meters. I export out of Maya in meters and then import into 3D Studio Max in millimeters. It just seems to work really well. So we'll export that. Now we'll go ahead and launch Max, and we'll import it, that scene. So import the scene, navigate over to that actual scene we have from Maya, and there's the ball film box, and we want to make sure it's in millimeters. Say OK, and there's the scene. Alright, and let's push that play button. And that's basically what we saw in the in Maya. Let's go back to Maya and look at that. It rolls off. Let's push play on